By any measure, New Mexico is having an exceptionally difficult time recovering from the recession. If we look at our neighboring states, we see that they're making a rapid recovery from the recession. Most are adding jobs at a bristling rate of twice the national average. Yet, New Mexico adds no new jobs, despite the fact that we seem to be in a great neighborhood. Why is that? Let's delve a little further into the data. We're doing an excellent job of adding jobs in healthcare, and these are largely government jobs. The recent spike in oil prices has increased our oil exploration and mining revenue. Yet, for every job that we gain, we lose one. And those are primarily government jobs. Government jobs are disappearing. When sequestration starts after the first of the year, this situation will worsen, and it'll be felt all through the economy. Finally, this is what our economy looks like. And what's missing is a robust private sector. How do we develop one? One thing we can do is look at the many communities around the country that are successful. And what they've all seemed to learn is that only the few largest cities can be all things to all people. Smaller communities have to be about something. They have to rally their resources and their people around a single theme. I like to call this theme the big idea. Recently, the Wall Street Journal profiled 7 communities that have bucked the recession because they developed big ideas. And you can see there's a range of them. Not all of them are high tech, but all of them have added jobs. And having a big idea is nothing new. In the 1950s, a group of business people, researchers, and educators in North Carolina got together and said, we're going to create a research triangle in an area that up to then had only had textile mills. Now, 60 years have passed since that big idea, and over 25 major high-tech companies call Raleigh, North Carolina home. The result is, when you compare Raleigh to Albuquerque, the average household income is over $8,000 greater. This disparity translates into over $9 billion of extra economic activity each year. It's the difference between prosperity and stagnation. What these communities have learned in promoting a big idea is that industries like to cluster. They like to be around similar industries. If I were going to start a high-tech internet company, I'd have to consider Silicon Valley for my home. Why? Because all the infrastructure that I need is there. When industries cluster, they share supply chains, they share research and technology, they share a culture, they share sources of venture capital, sources of financing, and most importantly, they share a skilled labor pool. Using a big idea to develop industry clusters, we attract the highly skilled, high-paid jobs and workers that spell success today, that will propel an entire economy. The communities that are experiencing success have learned to become talent magnets. And because this skilled labor force is becoming more and more scarce, as economist Mark Lautman points out, the talent magnets are being successful at the expense of the communities that are not talent magnets. So how do we in New Mexico become a talent magnet? Use a big idea to develop industry clusters. Because I'm a real estate developer, I approach the problem like I would approach buying a piece of property. I asked myself, what are our assets and what are our liabilities? The assets are actually quite large, and the most significant of those assets is the tremendous research capabilities that we have here. With our 2 national labs, our Air Force research, and a university system that's outstanding at research, we actually have our own research triangle right here already. Just have to learn how to take advantage of it. We also have a plethora of natural resources, large gas reserves, oil reserves, minerals, and a great amount of renewable energy in solar, wind, geothermal, and biomass. Being here today has taught me something. As any of us who've witnessed these speakers today been anything other than blown away by the intelligence, the creativity, the passion, and the compassion that we have in this community, I think it's unparalleled in this country. And it's an asset that's equal or greater than the ones I prepared to talk about. Shame on us if we can't do a little tiny thing like create sustained inclusive prosperity for this state with the assets that we have. So, what are our challenges? Perhaps our biggest challenge is that we're not using water in a sustainable fashion. We will run out. If I had to list a second challenge that we have, it's the pressure to harvest our resources in new, more innovative, more environmentally friendly ways. So I look at this group of assets, and I look at this group of challenges. And to me, our big idea is written right there. We need to develop the technology, the innovation, and the products to manage natural resources in the 21st century. That's a big idea. The fact is we're already well off on that road. We are leading the nation in those areas. Many, many projects I could stand here and name that are game changers. Let's take one small critical area of natural resource management. Let's talk about water management for a moment. Is there a bigger growth industry in the 21st century? The United Nations claims that by 2025, over 20% of the world's population will have no access to fresh water. And 2/3 of the Earth's surface will be categorized as water stressed. Of course, in the southwestern United States, we're already water stressed. Why not, as the gateway city to the Southwest, why not teach the Southwest how to conserve water, how to use it in more innovative, intelligent ways? We can use it as an example, the country of Israel, who some years ago decided that one of their big ideas would be water management. Now, some decades later, there's over 400 companies in Israel specializing in water management. Every other year, they hold the United Nations of Water Management Conferences called the WATEC Conference. Most importantly, these 400 companies last year exported over $350 billion of their product. In that category alone, they exported almost twice the sum of all of our exports. So they've proven to us how powerful this big idea can be. How do we get there? I would say the most important thing we can do is enter into a partnership with our laboratories to transfer technology around resource management from the public sector to the private sector. We already have a large international company with its Western headquarters in the United States named Fraunhofer that specializes in just that type of tech transfer. We're set up, ready to go. Next, we create a group of incentives, government incentives, private incentives, to facilitate the growth and the moving here of companies that embrace our big idea. Then we create the educational system to support our big idea. UNM becomes the first university in the nation with a school, a full school of resource management. And our technical schools turn out the highly skilled labor that we're going to need. Then we're firing on all cylinders. We're all working together towards a single theme, and what remains is just to let the world know. But the most important thing is not the methodology. It's the leadership. This will only happen, this or any big idea, will only happen if a group of diverse community leaders get together and say it's going to happen. Leaders in the business community, the research and educational communities, the political communities, the not-for-profit communities, get together to make this happen. I'm going to repeat myself again. From what I've seen in this room today, that's easy if we all commit ourselves. So, finally, this talk is really about my son Scott, who several weeks ago I just sent away to the East Coast for what will probably be 6 years of university training. I love him a lot and miss him already. And I think we've all got a Scott or two or three in our life. He's being trained to be that highly skilled, high-tech workforce that we're talking about. He is, in 6 years, he's going to be a member of that workforce. Nothing would bring me greater joy. Nothing would create greater quality of life for me if Scott came back to Albuquerque and lived in the same community that I live. And I'm sure this is a passion that I share with a lot of you. But mark my words, he'll only come back here if those high-tech, high-paying jobs that he's being trained for are here. He'll only come back here if we're talent magnets. Because finally, the human mind is the greatest of all resources. And no community can long prosper when the brightest and best of those minds go elsewhere. But again, with the people in this room, I know that we can make this happen. Of this, I'm certain. Thanks.